Thank you, Dash. Here we go. Team Liquid versus EDG as Liquid trying to get a little bit of redemption after getting smacked around by KT in their first game.
That is very true. KT also just smacked Mad Team around, so TL, I guess, can feel slightly better because of that. But in this game here, it was already identified by Frosk on the analyst desk. The mid lane matchup is very important, especially because PoBuilder internationally has struggled. So I really like the Aurelia ban, because I feel like that's kind of become one of those picks where the really good mid laners will take it, and they will just destroy your more passive mid laner.
And I think that, you know, the Akali ban following suit, kind of the exact same thing. You don't want to get isolated in a side lane. Akali, while it's not as good, 0 to 6, once that level 6 to 9, 11 has started to ramp up there, can do pretty much the same thing.
And on the side of EDG, to me, these are kind of the... We're not scared of any specific pick from you guys, so we just take the general OPs off the board. In Aatrox and Urgot, Tahm Kench is then debatable. It all depends on which team you ask, but in this case here, they do know that TL in the past has played a lot of it.
I think in general, for a team that plays a lot around their marksman and is willing to first pick Kai'Sa on blue side, Tahm Kench as a ban does make a lot of sense.
It certainly does, but you've just given up Varus Alistar if they want to take it. That is one of those lanes that, as far as it goes,
Yeah,
can
should be
bully
Alistar
heavily.
Oh, that's a lane bully.
But it is 2-7 versus the Kai'Sa. That's your stat. I just stole it. Pastry Time told me that.
It's not great. Also, of course, most of those games, actually all those games were in play-ins. This is the first time we've seen this champion on this stage of the tournament. But as you mentioned, Alistar also available. So we'll see if this counter pick does work out. Could also be Scout's pick as well, in case he's feeling extra spicy today, but I expect it to be boys.
And whilst I don't love the Lucian, it makes a lot of sense. It is that lane bully, but Alistar is really where I think that this lane gets difficult, because Mako really cut his teeth on Annie Alistar when he first came to MSI in 2015. He was a monster.
As also you want to deny Kai'Sa Alistar, which is the best combination for Kai'Sa. What we see all the teams do now is just a Rakan pick. And you still want that engaged support with the Kai'Sa, but we've already seen that lane struggle so much. And you already have a Lucian on the other side. TL needs to decide, do we want to go for what's best for the overall comp in the late game with Kai'Sa? Things like Rakan, or do we need something that's stronger in the early laning phase?
I mean, they have got a Gragas, which we've seen nichely match up against Alistar down in the bottom lane.
Good.
Try and take away some of the aggression.
It's also Braum.
True. I also like the fact that they took Gragas early, because I'm really curious about Clearlove's champion pool. They said they brought him back into the lineup because it's his meta. Well, unfortunately for Clearlove, I take a look at this meta, and I think this is probably not your meta. A lot of Lee Sin running around, which historically you've performed poorly on in the international stage, a lot of early game junglers. I'm interested to see if it's something like a Xin Zhao that they pick up for him, which they did in the play-in stage, and try and band-aid some of those early games.
Please pick, okay. We'll take it all back. On there, picked for Ray instead, after the Sion pick there for Impact. We did just talk about these two on the same team, of course, being Sword and Shield, but it's just kind of two shields / rocks at this point. Going to be playing the tanks.
And I know one of your concerns for this game was going to be that these two teams fairly evenly matched. We're just going to go into the mid game, and then the better team fighting comp was going to win. A lot of that revolves around Ornn and the ease of execution that can come out of the champion, something we saw yesterday.
Yeah, it's very true. I can't really hide my Ornn bias any longer. I absolutely love him on stage, especially when safe engaged is just superior. So many players are still afraid of pulling the trigger because there's a chance it could go wrong, but Ornn just gives you that safety. The thing is, though, you have Lucian, who's definitely going to get outscaled by Kai'Sa.
Yep.
So if this game does end up going towards the late game, which is what I expected when I looked at both teams on paper, also based on EDG not being able to close out the game against Mad Team on day one, sadly for EDG with Lucian, it's not about late game. Well, maybe not sadly, actually, maybe it could be good for them, because they have shown strong play around the bot lane in the early game in the LPL, and that's what they're doing with Lucian here. So screw the late game stuff, more about early game now.
Can certainly still force players with the pick, as well as Shen, which is probably a support, at least consideration, given all the picks that have happened so far. And Braum, that we mentioned already, was maybe a pick that Ole will be looking to, are going to be taken away by EDG. Also, Talia is going to be banned away from presumably Clearlove, so not wanting to give him a more aggressive jungler.
I want to see if things like Skarner could be something he wants to play, like it is something he's played a lot in the past as well. And if you are playing this comp now where there's good engage, you have the tools to win early game with your Lucian, you just want something that can keep forcing picks, Skarner does work really well for EDG.
Syndra also banned away there, so Scout not going to get that pick this time around, but probably saving counter pick for mid lane. You can see they're talking to Clearlove. Has played some Nocturne already in the tournament, I believe, and looks like it will be locked in once more for EDG.
Still, more engaged, more ways to keep forcing picks here. TL will not get a slow game. they're going to be constantly attacked.
Also a band-aid for poor macro play at times. You know, if you end up in a side lane with a bad assignment or something like that, you can just bring Nocturne towards that side of the map. Also, if it comes to desperate situations, not all that bad around Baron, because if you take away all Baron vision and they have to come fight you, something that EDG can use to force around.
Also makes it hard for Kai'Sa to play team fights.
Yep.
Because she can't fully see where she's going with her ulti during the Nocturne engage, and it's going to be rough for Doublelift to carry this game, but he's getting a lot of protection.
Certainly is. I love this Galio pick, though, from Team Liquid. Pobelter, we talked about it. Get something safe, get something like a Malzahar Galio, a very robust laner.
That could be a Lucian mid lane. I'm just going to get in ahead a little bit.
I already said this.
Because Galio is just so poor at the early stage of the laning phase if you can harass him. It could also be something like a Cassiopeia as well if they want to try and bully it out.
Well, for now, it is actually more of a standard control mage. Azir early game is obviously nothing special, but we know his scaling is amazing, and Galio can't really punish him early. So we do get a bit of late game insurance for EDG.
And this is interesting. I'm sad as well. But the thing that I was going to say is what they've done is they've picked up a lot of the late game power that they normally give to Kai'Sa on something like iBoy on Kai'Sa. And then they've given him a Lucian and said, try and keep Doublelift down. Your job is to stop Doublelift exploding into this game, harass him off some farm. And then they said, Scout, because they do have Kai'Sa, we still need some late game team fighting insurance. We need a way to get through some of this front line. So they've given him probably the best team fighting 6-item mid laner that is available.
But on the other side with TL, like the Leona pick is actually kind of surprising. Came in pretty late in the draft here. They could have put the Gragas into support. It just screams to me they're going to gank this lane. Like they wanted a support with CC and setup, because otherwise picking Leona against Alistar normally does not feel that great. But now with the Gragas, we've already seen Xmithie do this against KT. Go bot lane early, execute the first gank. Like this is just all about Doublelift on Kai'Sa, and they need to make sure he does not fall behind against the Lucian.
It's okay, it's not just a World Championships thing. They've been going bot lane all year long for Doublelift and Olay. So we'll see if Xmithie can make his way down there and find something. Because again, we kind of expect it with a very safe mid and top lane TL willing to play pretty safe and farm things out if they can. The plan for TL has not changed much all year long. They've really refined their style and become very consistent domestically, which is why they're our back-to-back champions. Hasn't held up as well on the international stage so far, but EDG, with clearly back in the lineup, we'll see how they look, because they have looked a little scattered so far in the tournament.
And this isn't something new for EDG fans. EDG come into Worlds, they do try new things every now and again. People will remember the Jace pickup with Teleport. Just crazy things running around Summoner's Rift. Historically, it has at time lost some games that fans felt like they should win. You just hope that some of this early game focused bottom lane isn't more of the same.
Not an EDG world without a random loss. Already happened in play-ins. We'll see if Team Liquid can hand them a loss here as well.
I mean, this game could end up deciding so much for this group, because everyone is looking at KT and saying, okay, that should be the first seed. People then look at Mad Team and expect them to be the 4th seed, meaning it's TL versus EDG fighting for that 2nd spot right now. And if you lose this game here, as TL, you're down 0-2 all of a sudden. That's a super rough start for you to the group stages. EDG, on the other hand, they still have KT left here in the first round.
And that's what I was going to say. On the flip side of that, EDG need to come out with a statement game if they even want to be considered in the conversation.
Level 1, though, from TL. Oh, early cleanse from Scout. Doesn't cost him, though, but does have to use the Summoner spell.
Kept it cool right there. I think a lot of people would have flashed instantly over the wall. Knew he had some backup. Oh, Clearlove also taking some damage.
Yeah, Impact does get some down. They get a ward near the Raptor pit as well, but EDG already have their Scuttle ward there on the left side to scout for that. And Scout himself hanging out. He's just going to meet the wave now as Pobelter going the long way around. Doesn't want to grab any harassment as he moves to lane.
It is very interesting, however, that Clearlove keeps finding his way back on this EDG lineup. He's, of course, the legacy player, massive superstar in China, but he hasn't played most of the split for EDG. You know, the plan was he was barely going to play all year. Like, they wanted to start moving past Clearlove, but because so much of the shock hole and pressure was then on Mako, they had a lot of issues past 20 minutes. They didn't know what to do as a team, and Clearlove was supposed to be the guy who could step in and then fix that shot calling issue.
Yeah, it almost felt like the Cloud9 and High situation where they'd had this player with the organization since the inception. They'd always had one strong voice in the lineup, so people that they brought into the system didn't necessarily have to step up. Obviously, that changed slightly with Mako, but I think the interesting thing is it must be something intrinsic to the team, because on paper, or in the game more likely, when you watch them play, not all that much changes when Clearlove is in the lineup. So potentially it's a decision-making, potentially it's a loud voice.
Bottom side though, bit of trading there. Ole does lose some health, as Xmithy and Clearlove maybe battling over the Scuttle Crab here. Red buff there for the Gragas.
No cleanse, remember.
Scout gonna get bopped, does get knocked up as well, but he's gonna hold his flash for now. Pobelta, no CC to follow up.
So many small fights around the bot lane and the river here. Scout and Clearlove were trying to contest the Rift Scuttler. In the end, Clearlove will pick it up for himself. And bot lane, we actually saw a level 2 all-in from Ole. Sadly for him, Mako got level 2 right after and nothing ended up happening. But back to Clearlove really quickly. We have to remember that he got to play a bit of the regular season, but when it actually came down to qualifying for Worlds in the Gauntlet, it wasn't Clearlove playing. So he's here with the team. He, of course, will add some value to them. He definitely brings leadership, probably safety in comms, which is a big deal for a team that likes to fight a lot in the early game.
Back down the bot side, Doublelift and Ole actually doing pretty well so far, given how aggressive we expect at least iBoy's pick here to be with the Lucian, but even in CS, so they'll be okay for now, as Impact also doing a nice job trading back and forth with his old friend. But again, on, pretty safe, able to hold on and keep relative stability.
Certainly is, but Siren is just so frustrating in the top lane. His ability to push in tank versus tank matchups and continue pressure means that Smithy, who is on a little bit of that earlier game focused jungler, should be able to start getting some pressure in the top side of the map. All comes down to this mid lane though, because if Pobelta starts becoming, you know, a pressure point for EDG, if they're able to push into him, then that game plan falls apart.
Well, I actually think if you're RTL and you see this here, you're pretty happy, because it is the kind of pick that won't punish early game. Scout is known to win lane really hard, play a lot of aggressive picks that can shut down a mid laner. That won't happen with the Azir right here. I think Pobelta gets a ton of chances in the early to mid game to hit his level 6, use his ulti aggressively, preferably towards the bottom side, because there is a thing about this Leona pick. While it's not that great against Alistar, against Lucian, you can follow his dash. If you do connect with your E, you kind of just follow with him. Then you can stun him and ult him right after. So there are ways for Ole to try and catch iBoy, add then ulti from Pobelta. Like, I can see this come together for TL when it comes to winning bottom side through ganks, and use that to snowball this Kai'Sa towards late game.
I think on the flip side, you also have the opportunity, because Azir must push to win lane, where you can start taking this Sion pick and floating it down into the river, you know, trying to generate some pressure around it and try and gank it. Some action bottom.
Yeah, Doublelift forced to burn the heal. We know Xmithy's hanging off in the fog of war, but looks like Doublelift is too low to make a play.
And so what's going to happen if it's just 2v2, and why we highlight the power of the Lucian Alistar early. The all-in, dash forward then from iBoy, plus Ignite on Mako, means that Doublelift needs to constantly respect him, and we're not even at the point where Clearlove is level 6. Add him on top of this, and you're going to get killed.
He's trying something, but we can see the lane ward there for TL. Clearlove going to get spotted, and as they know, not level 6, so no real threat here from the EDG jungler. Doublelift, though, is sticking around, trying to get these CS that EDG wanted to have shoved into this turret.
And both of these teams have level 6 plays they can make. So the fact that it's been a slow early game, you know, whilst you would love the heal to still be available there for Doublelift, does kind of play into the explosiveness that we expect to see now that Galio is getting there. And I'm interested, top gank.
Yeah, looking for Ray here. Oh, almost gets clipped by the Sion ulti, but is able to flash out to safety. Mako in, what a flash from Doublelift, but Mako gonna chase the Ignite is down. It's all in for Eggwood Gaming, but the CC under the turret is not nearly enough. Zymo gets low. Mako takes the last turret hit, but Ole does actually find the counter kill, and in comes POB. Looking to take down Mako, has got no flash, got no hope. He's gonna get stunned up to death as Pobelta swoops in for a freebie.
Man, EDG's bot lane, they got so aggressive, but the flash from Doublelift meant that he didn't get nuked down instantly, and they could actually force Mako and iBoy to stay under that turret for a couple of extra hits before Doublelift died. In the end, it's a free kill for Pobelta and a 1-for-1 trade bot lane.
It certainly is.
2-for-1,
see how aggressive they want to play this. They see Smithy top lane, immediately they go underneath, but the flash, without the flash follow from Mako, is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think if you want to make this play work, Mako needs to just Q flash, so Doublelift cannot react in time. So he's guaranteed to get hit by the knockup. Then you can take him down as Lucian. Otherwise, you end up wasting too much time. And there we go. Pobelta gets the free kill. Doublelift, he's happy.
And this is the difference between a teleport mid laner that uses these teleport first recall to buy himself that free wave versus someone like an Azir that has to walk back to the laning phase. It just gives you this artificial ability to move around the map.
And now while TL got 2 kills, we have to remember Doublelift did lose quite some minions right there at the turret. Also, the wave was then pushing towards EDG once he returned. So he is currently sitting on 47 to 67 CS, and he's without flash now. Nocturne level 6 is here. Xmithy, we talked about the gank spot lane. He's around.
Yep, does have his flash as well.
There we go,
Looking to
follow.
cover Ole. He's going to start it off. Predator is good. Solo play. Tags Mako only for the slow. Ulti in. It's going to get Mako back in. And that's a kill. Leona grabs her second.
Yeah, and that's well played in the end by TL. The first part of it looked a little bit sloppy, but Smithy cleans up the play for the team, puts some pressure on the bottom turret, and this is why they play around Doublelift.
Bot side though, looks like Scout is moving his way down, and Clearlove's ready with his ulti to try and find a counter kill. EDG though, do have to be careful, don't want to be too hasty in these sorts of situations.
Well, we just got to see exactly why Leona was picked. Ole got onto Ibot, follows him in to Mako, misses the ulti at first onto Ibot, but will still be able to land enough CC on the Alistar, and Xmithy was around the bot lane as mentioned. So TL, very clear game plan. They know how they want to get Doublelift out of this lane, get him to a couple of items so he just outscales the Lucian.
But similar to the Gen G game, I feel, it's the support that's grabbing all these kills. It's a 2-0-1 Leona as opposed to the Kai'Sa being able to grab any of them. So you can see gold still heavily in favor of iBoy. This is still a lane that the Lucian, even though he's been forced back a couple of times and died once, does have control.
And Doublelift is still without flash. Clearlove, you have your ulti. I need to see it used bot lane to secure a very easy kill onto Doublelift and maybe even a turret. But right now, TL have completely warded the bot side. You need control wards if you're EDG. You can put one in your tri-brush behind your turret, and then you know, okay, they're not going to see the Nocturne here. He can sneak into the lane and just ult towards Doublelift. If that doesn't happen for a couple of minutes, flash is back up, and I feel like that's a big opportunity wasted.
I do feel like this is the first step, though. Get blue buff over, ensure you have the push mid lane, because otherwise, Clearlove, if he wants to go from a different angle, you know, potentially from behind, potentially try and cut off a retreat and focus down the turret, you're going to get collapsed on. So this is the right move.
And Mako level 6 is here. They can tower dive as well, but we know with all the wards they're spotted. He's not committing to it yet.
Got to go quickly as well. Pobelta can also provide coverage with his ultimate now available. And Team Liquid, again, using that vision, playing safe, doing what they've done for so many months now. Protecting this bottom lane, letting the Kai'Sa scale up as Xmithy is back down to the same side.
But look at this. Clearlove just recalled. He's leaving base with 90 gold. Can you please buy a control ward?
Unfortunately, mate, that doesn't give you more damage. That's just what I've learned in my time.
Fair enough.
All right, well, Xmithy going to clear out this ward. So again, double control wards here for TL at the mouth of the bot side river, just making sure the bot lane stays safe. And Clearlove has really kind of done nothing but farm most of this game. Has the ulti ready to go, and you've said already, Future, he needs to use this ulti somewhere.
And the problem is that really only the top lane is available for that gank. You can see Pobelta, he's catching waves rather defensively. He understands that right now he has no vision over his side of the map. Smithy has done the right thing and gained that vision control around bottom lane. Doublelift's flash is about to come back available. And after the next, maybe shop, Merc treads are going to be picked up by Pobelta. He's not going to be in all that much danger of dying to the Azir. And this game actually becomes rather easy to continue to stall out, continue to progress towards that mid to late game Kai'Sa that we keep talking about TL relying on to win these matches.
Exactly. It's really interesting. We could follow the TL game plan. We got to talk about it very early on and could kind of see it work and see it happen. But we also mentioned all the openings for EDG that were not used. And it's kind of one of the things with Clearlove, like, he's never been the most proactive jungler. Like, it's very much safety and farm first. But in this case, when you pick a Nocturne, you're not a very useful champion if you do not actually get any sort of early kills. And he had an opening to get a free kill bot. Didn't go for it. This time, though, he spent his gold properly.
Better late than never. Mako sent him back to base, say, can you please get me a control ward? It's actually in the tri-brush behind the lane of EDG. That's where you want it to be if you are a Nocturne. Creative, vision, however, in other areas of the map for Team Liquid. And I think this is why people were pretty confident that they'll be able to win this game, because they felt like Team Liquid had the answers to be able to stall out. They had a cerebral jungler like Smithy that would be able to control Clearlove in the jungle matchup, and that we've already seen the execution in MSI of this lineup. If they are able to get to the area of the map where Doublelift can take over, and they have great tools in the Galio, in the Leona, to be able to fight this one pretty standard front to back.
Yeah, again, it's just been safe so far for TL, and that's all they really need to do at the moment. Ray is going to get some damage down here onto Impact, but tank beat tank, as is traditional. A lot of spells get used and not too much happens to the health bar. At least Impact feeling decent on the CS, about 10 ahead as Smithy sneaking into the back of the pit here might start up the Mountain Drake for Team Liquid.
Well, we got to see the two control wards now. We got the one behind the tier 1 turret we mentioned before, so you can sit there as a Nocturne, find your way towards the bottom lane. Drake is being started now. We got 4 EDG members on the bottom side. Are they moving into contest here? They're on their way. Clearlove is close. Not in range just yet. Mako, will he go for the play?
Ooh, actually, I'm going to start it for Ole onto Mako, but Mako finds the double fold. They're trying to finish up the Drake. Smithy will get it. Here's finally the paranoia burnt by Clearlove. He wants the Kaiser, but Doublelift flashes out of there. And here's Pobelta. He's found one. That's Clearlove going down. Rado has arrived. But the Ono, he just can't really find space to use it. Mako, though, with a follow-up pulse. Might turn it back around for EDG. They're going in for a scout with a massive shuffle. Follows into the Ornhorn. Ole going to go down as well, and EDG somehow saved that fight.
Well, look how much damage they can actually deal this early on and how much CC they bring. If they coordinated, Ray ended up TPing in really far behind the team. Clearlove jumped in after Mako's combo was already used. But in the end, they show that at this point in the game, with Lucian and with so much engaged, they should be able to shut down TL.
And once again, it's the important members that pick up the kills as we take another look at the Ace of Predator replay. And this is what you're talking about, just a lot of indecision at the start of this fight.
Yeah, right. Right now, it's a little bit weird because the TP is not even coming yet. Now we get the ult in from Clearlove, and while he doesn't get doubles, he forces him out.
Yeah, and in the end, Scout kind of just says, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. Corrals everyone into the pit. They think they can get out, but he goes over the wall, he follows up, he chases them, shoves them back towards the lineup. That is a game-changing play from Scout.
And I think if you're EDG, you're so happy TL started that Drake. That gave you an opportunity to get a big fight early on. TL had 4 members there sitting near it. They had not actually looked to see if any of the EDG members were back in base, if Clearlove maybe was on top side. No, they didn't know 100% where he would be. So when they stopped that Drake, they grouped together and they set up a potential engage from Mako. So EDG right there got everything they could ever hope for, but it was started by TL.
Certainly was, but Scout collects at the end of the day. And for a player that has had a very up and down international history so far as a player, it is nice to see the strength of his playmaking and aggression still bearing fruit, but maybe some of that lackadaisical play not being so bad. As here's Pobelta down to the bottom side of the map. He's going to find Mako for the taunt, but the Unbreakable Wheel is going to keep him pretty healthy. There's Clearlove also around the other side as EDG have rotated nice and quick to fend off this play.
Good patience from the EDG lineup there. Clearlove was out of vision, did have the ultimate available, was just patiently waiting for an overreach. It did not come, but now the siege can start.
Continues though. As Smithy also maybe able to find a wraparound, but with no flash, no luck.
Like the play here from EDG. They know, okay, all in plus Galio ulti can happen. So iBoy just defensively gets away from the initial engage. And they don't actually just overstay while all of TL are defending because Sign was back in base and could have ulted from the fountain towards the bottom lane. Now they know all of TL backed off. And the rest of EDG can stay in. This is Azir now is getting ahead.
This is one of my favorite things about Azir, is the fact that when you have a shorter range AD carry, he gives them the safety to be able to hit turrets. Just through the Sand Soldiers being able to be so much ahead of the turret line, and his ability to duck in and out of turret aggro because there's no carryover damage. Once the soldier hits you, you drop aggro, there's no burn, there's nothing like that, and he's able to step back up. It will give iBoy the safety in the latter stages of the game to be able to step towards the objective.
280 carries without flashes right now in the bottom lane. Smithy is around. Ole will find a ward in here. Smithy will show as well.
Yep, TL just trying to get a trade. I think at this point, EDG did collect the bottom outer turret for that bonus gold. See if Mako and iBoy can mount a defense. Oh, Clearlove's here. trying to bait them in. Good ward there from Ole. Will spot the Nocturne, but that's
EDG
going to
can
get
fight
swept
here.
out.
It's 3v3 bot side. Pobel has no globals. There's no way he can join. But they decide not to pull the trigger despite no flash on double if. And Mako has flash on the Alistar plus Nocturne ulti. EDG is still trying to play it very safe on the bottom side.
And I think there is a risk with Lucian against something like the Gragas that this team fight just goes horribly. So I actually respect. Get the recall nice and early. Now you can set pace on the map. You can see they've already fought Ray down to catch that wave at the tier 2. This is one of those situations that, yes, they could have fought, but maybe this is even some growth in EDG where they say, we don't have to. We got the first turret. We now have first move. Let's go top lane.
Still looking good though, as they'll be up about 1,000 golds. Although Team Liquid should be happy with how little they have lost, despite their blunder around the Drake. So they'll move their Kai'Sa up towards the top side of the map and continue to find themselves some items. But it's been a pretty slow-paced game, which we did expect for TL this time around, but perhaps not as much from EDG. Although I do like the idea of Spawn that they're kind of growing as a team as the tournament progresses. And it has been a relatively turbulent year for the squad as well.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, we've heard Frost tell the story a couple of times so far, but this certainly isn't the storied organization of EDG that has won so many domestic titles, that had looked dominant throughout things like the Demacia Cup, that won MSI when they were able to. This is an EDG that honestly has played with their roster a little bit this year, that hasn't been happy in the top lane and potentially jungle positions as well. That now they seem to have settled on Haro. Now they're bringing Clearlove back into the lineup for leadership purposes is the reason that we've been told. But across the board, it just seems to be a little bit more uncertain than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I feel like over the last year or two, it's kind of been like a generation shift on EDG, back from when they had the depth roster, obviously, that won MSI. Ray is still fairly young top lane on their side. iBoy, of course, is still very, very young down to 80k position. And then Scout, who last year was the most inconsistent mid lane I've ever seen. Great at times, and then horrible in other games, other moments in games. He's much more consistent and mature now, and he's the big carry in this game.
And to be fair, they needed Scout to be consistent, because one of the reasons Scout replaced Pawn on the roster is because if Scout is the most inconsistent, Pawn's up there as well somewhere.
He's in a realm of his own, I feel like, as EDG are looking to siege up mid. Did do decent damage to the mid lane outer turret, but again, no need to overextend into a potential Scion ulti or something else. Team Liquid, though, are starting up the Rift Herald.
Okay. Probably will get a big fight here. All 10 members are around it. Mako in the front. Will Smith is on him.
Yeah, you actually find a wraparound. Mako, though, fancies himself a jungler. Clearlove pops the ulti. They're going to dive into the backside of the map. Double Lift, though, can't make it over. He needs to use the ult and doesn't do so. Ole does that at Clearlove as Ray finds a two-man knock after the ulti as well. And Scout, once again, scoops POB back through. A good knock up there for the Scion, but that's just Impact flashing back over the wall.
And they just have no access to that team fight. Double Lift doesn't pull the trigger. There is no proactive play. So EDG just take down the front line and now can push the mid lane wave.
We have to remember, it's so hard to play Kai'Sa against Nocturne ulti. You don't know what's going on when you're split from the fight. And this is the second time now where it's TL with the scaling AD carry who's starting objectives. First the Drake, that gave 4 kills to EDG. Now they start the Rift Herald and all EDG members are around. I think we're seeing at TL focusing too much on, oh, objective is up, let's go for it as a 5-man unit, and not actually setting up the map first. Split up the enemy team, watch them sit in side lanes, and then go for Rift Herald. You actually never need to set up a team fight around this objective.
Because this is what you're talking about. Bottom wave right now is neutral. Mid wave pushed in for EDG, so they can get multiple rivers here. Nocturne ultimate is beautiful, and he just doesn't have a way in.
No, Double is just, he's stuck near blue buff and can't join the fight, so it's 5 versus 4 the entire time. EDG are once again very happy to see TL start an objective.
Certainly are. They collect almost the maximum once more and now up about 3,000 gold with 2 turrets to 1. Still trying to crack the top outer if they can, and Team Liquid are mounting some sort of offense here in the red side jungle, but that's 2 bagels for the mid lane and AD carry on the Team Liquid side in that last fight. That kind of tells the whole story.
And a utility Nocturne ultimate apparently
Exactly, yeah, I was
did that
thinking
last
the same.
fight.
It's all about just the ulti right now for Clearlove. He ult sits in the back, calls the shots, kill this guy, kill this guy. He doesn't even need to hit anyone on his own.
Actisha Nocturne, I like it.
Should just build full cooldown reduction.
Yeah, for some reason he's building lethality. I'm not sure how that plays into the equation. But again, the kind of slow burn continues. EDG finding good opportunities. Scout on 2 items, continuing to overperform in these team fights as well.
And then also another situation here where we're going to get the full AP Galio coming out. So this is going to be, you know, a little bit of tank with the initial aftershock, but after that, we'll do a lot of damage. I don't mind it in this comp because if he ever gets in range of iBoy, he'll probably one-hit him as this game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, the entire draft from TL is reach the back line.
Yep.
A Leona ulti as obviously one of your main tools to get there, Gragas body slam, and then you have ulti from both Kai'Sa and Galio. iBoy and Scout are pretty slippery, however, on Lucian and Azir.
As demonstrated.
As demonstrated right there, so it's not easy. You don't have like the point-and-click way to get to the back line.
Clearlove also shadowing Scout here in the top lane, just trying to open up space. I take it back. Everyone almost coming up here for EDG, wanting to knock down this turret. Just Ray down the bot lane with the teleport at the ready.
And without Leona ultimate, I mean, this is a hard team to engage on. Do they try and make it work here?
TP behind.
Scout might pull the trigger on the ulti. Here's Impact looking for Clearlove, but he just ults instead. Mako already found the 2-man pole, but Smithy dead as he stands. Ray looking for the knockup, does actually find double lift, and it just looks so simple now for Edward Gaming as iBoy lets the ulti rip. Everyone dives out of the corridor. Ray gives the 2-man knock, and Scout makes it look so sick. That's the ace for EDG.
Scout is just dirty right now on this Azir. Multiple man ultimate, and that will be a 20-minute Baron.
The entire team just outplays TL in every single team fight. They're gonna get the Baron now. The carries are getting all the kills on their side. Why not take a tier 2 turret as well?
Gonna get it all by the looks of things. Oh, there's iBoy, as you mentioned. Just making sure to clear up the little objective that they already had started.
And EDG historically are not a punished team. Like, you make the first move, we're gonna counter-attack, we're gonna repel it. Historically, they've been the team that will run at you, will try and create disadvantages, and for some reason, TL, I mean, just keep trying to throw everything at them.
Yeah, let's just be honest here. TL has picked 3 extremely bad fights, and EDG every single time punished them. Here we get the engage coming in, but he tries to hold on to a Nocturne who's obviously just gonna jump away with his own ulti. And that now means all of EDG can get free damage on the front line. iBoy and Scout on almost 100% HP. They get so much damage off, and then the combo Ray plus Scout together, like that's just insane.
And when you talk about how much damage a champion does in League of Legends, you have to take uptime into consideration. Whilst Kai'Sa is one of the best late game carries in the game, Double Lift has had no uptime this game to show that. And meanwhile, look at the damage coming out of Scout and
I
iBoy.
think one carry did more damage than all of Team Liquid in that last team fight.
That's definitely true. Might almost doubled it.
EDG with the Baron for 2 minutes plus. Now going to look to take down even more turrets. The Baron minions finished up the top tier 2, and now it's just a mid lane to waltz on by and try and knock down.
And one of my questions was, how decisive does this EDG victory need to be to turn this group back into a 2-horse race? I'm not saying we're there now, because I think that a lot of this game has been determined by TL's failures in the plays that they have looked to make. But if you are an EDG fan right now, you have to restart believing in this squad, because when they are executing on plays, it is looking very clean.
Feels like a tower dive might be brewing as well. We'll see if Team Liquid can hold the assault, as they do need to start something up. Maybe not now, maybe they just concede a few turrets. We'll have to give up this one at least.
Yeah, it feels so hard now for TL when you're this far down, because even full late game, you're against Azir. And this guy is with cleanse, so it's so hard for Leona to get onto him in time and keep him in place for the rest of TL to pile onto him. It's just Double Lift alone on the side of TL in terms of damage dealers, and that's just not enough against the EDG draft here. They had to wait for the Lucian to get weaker and while Double Lift was scaling, but they fought and fought and fought while iBoy could deal a ton of damage. And Scout managed to pick up a bunch of kills with that as well.
It's 26 minutes, and Azir's already 3 items. The frontline for TL feels like air instead of steel, which is what they're supposed to be in the face of this champion. EDG already 10,000 gold ahead.
And the issue is that Scout is just doing so much damage on the poke that if you don't pull the trigger immediately, you get punished. The times they have pulled the trigger immediately, you get punished, and it looked bad. So there's just really no way for them to get into this fight right now.
Slowly losing this turret here. He's going to start the fight off instead. Gets the charge in. Everybody's going to pile into the team fight. They will get a kill already. Ibe actually went a little too deep on that one. But Scout, the true carry of the side, is still alive. He'll force him away with the ulti. The front line will dive into the backside as Ray with the rocks picks up the support kill. And almost everyone on Team Liquid just evaporates. As Scout, he's hunting for the final kill. Goodbye, double lift. And goodbye hopes for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's it. EDG win every single team fight in this game. Another ace, and the base is done.
Now just the easy parts left. They'll knock down these Nexus turrets, and Team Liquid will have to start thinking about their next upcoming game, because EDG have made it look so good in the teamfight execution. It is just the Nexus left. EDG will collect themselves yet another win.
And the second game, second quick victory. EDG this time, honestly, just took what TL brought to the table.
Yeah.
And were able to outplay them.
That's actually the most impressive thing is EDG, it was not about super snowballing the bot lane. They were hesitant around Nocturne ultis down to that lane. Sure, they got a CS advantage, but that was about it. It was just pure team fighting. And especially with super good engage combined with Scout on Azir, you had a great setup. But man, if you're a TL fan, most concerning thing for me is there is no map setup. It is just, that's an objective, let's run 5-man to it and completely ignore if EDG